in the Athletic, Laurie Whitwell did like this big piece about obviously Ineos's first full year at Manchester United, first full season, and one of the things that was said was Man United are no longer trying to recruit for the system. It's not about a system. It's not about 3-5-2 or 4-4-3. It's about profile of players that can be spread across all systems, that can play multiple systems, that are versatile enough to make this team better. And that's what I'm happy about. I'm happy I'm hearing those things instead of being, oh, we're going to buy Amarim specific players. No. Let's buy players that can suit the club.
And it's really
let's buy
important.
good players. That's how we should say it also.
Yes.
Let's buy good players.
And this is it, KJ. I'm so glad you've mentioned that part. I've seen a lot of people angry about that article tonight. They like, I read someone wrote that they seem like the most horrendous people in the world, and then I followed the thread, and it basically was harping back to this bit where they were asking members of staff to email through what they do. And I'm like, maybe it's because of the job I had. Maybe it's because of the life I used to lead. I'm like, that's so normal for new senior people to come in and try and find out what it is people do, what is their actual job, what are they actually there for? Does that make sense? And it felt weird that people were angry about it, but I saw that part and I'm sitting there and going, everyone will ignore that bit that KJ just mentioned. Everyone will ignore it because when people go to me, Terry, but what's the point of having a style of play if when the manager leaves, the players don't fit the new manager? Well, you're going to remember all the bits in that about Ineos you hate, which is fair, but you were going to ignore that bit. And when it comes to the squad build, again, these little things are what give me real hope, just hope, because I have been begging for this stuff for the better part of a decade, not because I'm a genius, not because I know more than your average bear, but when you read into how well-run clubs operate, it's exactly the same. Where with Man United, as we say, everything is specific about, no, Jose loves this player and LVG's wanted this player for years and Ollie, this is his favorite type of player. And it shouldn't be about that. It should be profiles for the club that play a certain type of way that fit the Premier League. I totally agree. I think it's the right way to move forward. This here says, as an Arsenal fan, if United brings in an attacker, a top-rated midfielder, a top-class defender, and another goalkeeper as a first step of the rebuild, United will be scary next season.
It's funny. Oh, go on, Staffy. You go.
We won't be scary. Let's just put that one out now. We won't be scary, but we will be better. But I'm going to have to go, guys, anyways. Big up to the chat. Big up to everyone.
Cheers, bro. Cheers, Staffy.
Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on.
Scary is an interesting concept. Scary, yeah. Look, again, I suppose it depends on where you're coming from. Anyone who's enjoyed us failing this year, if we have a really good window, there's a good chance that next year we're not these whipping boys that we've been this season. And Sharek actually says something else that I went to put up on screen. Here it is. It says, the one thing I am confident now is that the recruitment will make us better. If that means Amarim's a guy, I'll back it. But we need to see performances and mentality once that is visible. Results will come. And I agree with you on this. This is what I would say to you though. Managers, no matter how good or bad we think they are, need the right players. They all need the right players. Pep Guardiola didn't develop Rodri from what he inherited. City didn't develop KDB from what they inherited. Everything City have got right now is built on money. And that's not a dig. They built and expanded their academy and attracted talent from all around the world. They had to increase revenues. They improved the infrastructure, increased revenue so they could sign and maintain players like Haaland, players like KDB, as an example. You look at Liverpool, and Jurgen Klopp inherited a good team that a year and a half earlier had competed for a Premier League title. Yes, they'd lost Sterling and Suarez by then, but what got Liverpool to a team that could win the Champions League and then the Premier League? Record-breaking money spent on goalkeepers, record-breaking money spent on centre-backs, big money spent on the attack, and there's nothing wrong with that. None of these men. Fergie, we all love him as United fans. The man bought players every single season from 1986 until he won the league in 92, 93. He didn't just go, right, this is what I inherited in the mid-80s, and I turned them into league title winners. He cleared out most of the fuckers. Stop the drinking, stop this, stop that. it takes time. No one just goes, right, see that failing team, I'm going to coach them into. It's not a Disney movie. It's not Coach Carter.
It's not the Mighty Ducks. It's not the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't turn a team that can't control a hockey puck or skate into state champions in 3 months. It doesn't happen.
And I think obviously as time goes on, people reflect on the past and see how things go. And I think as time goes on, we're seeing more and more that the most important thing in football right now is not necessarily the manager, it's not necessarily the players individually themselves, it's recruitment of the club. Without them recruiting the really good players, without them recruiting really good managers, it doesn't matter what these people do, you're just not going to be good enough. And people keep saying, oh, Man United are done because who they're going to sign? They can't sign anyone good. Like, that's it, they're going to get relegated next season. If that is the case, why do teams like Brighton and Bournemouth and Crystal Palace and all these teams that people want players from and have been given props to and credit to for being smaller teams and having these good players, why do their players sign for them? Because if it was just about size and not winning trophies and bottling things, they've bottled things more than Man United over the last few years, over the last decade, the last 20 years, and yet they still sign players who turn out to be good. You know, who knew that you could recruit for a club and don't need to be the greatest team in the world?
Exactly. And, you know, Harrison Lang here has just mentioned what you did. Terry, did you see the Athletic article about United not buying for the 3-2-4-1, but for a certain style of play that's transferable across managers? Absolutely, because the manager himself speaks about it. That the formation you see on the screen is the setup isn't important. It's the positions you take up during a game. And I've said it for years. I just don't feel there's often that big a difference between all these formations in play. In play, the positions you take up in and out of possession change. So I'm glad to see that we're talking about it. I can't wait to speak to especially Mo in the morning, 10:30 UK time, straight facts, because he is someone that always kind of calls this out with Man United. Well, how are you going to transfer it? I know what the response will be from rivals. It will just be, well, I'll believe it when I see it. Then that always makes me then think sort of, well, then what's the point of bringing it up then? You might as well challenge nothing, because if no one's response is good enough until you see it, then you might as well, then there's no point complaining or praising. You might as well just wait, right? There's no point praising anything or criticizing anything if you only want to wait until the end result. So yeah, we'll see what people have got to say on that in the morning. But no, this is certainly positive news. I know you and I are level-headed about this, and I know you and I, KJ, know that there's a long way to go for this team. So much more needs to be produced and built and everything else. But very, very good start at least. It's one thing we can say. Very good start. Nick here says Vavel is great at recruiting. Happy to have him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, and I hope so. And as I said earlier, I will criticize things that are bad, and I have done this week. I'll praise things that I like the sound of or that end up being good. The one thing that was interesting around what Ruben said in his post-match press conference is we have done in 6 months what most teams take 3 years to do. I'm intrigued by that. At the very least, I'm intrigued to see what that looks like. I just hope we get a big summer. I hope we get some good signings. Cunha's a great start, and we go from there. Final word to you, KJ.
Oh yeah, I think yes, this is a great start. Man United can't stop here. We can't just be happy with getting Cunha and maybe getting Delap and maybe getting an Burma type player. We need multiple players in multiple positions. And I think as important recruiting players in will be, getting players out will be just as important. So can we get the likes of someone like a Luke Shaw out the door, and Onana, obviously Garnacho, Rashford, Sancho, Anthony, Malacia, and maybe some others who people are thinking of, Rasmus Højlund. Can we get those guys out the door? Can we use that to build up the kitty? And can we actually go out and sign? Like, people say it's going to be unrealistic. Go sign 5 to 8 players this summer, you know, of different statuses, of different quality, of different positions. And can we actually go in and challenge for the top 6, top 8 next season? I hope we can. But that's down to Ineos and down to Man United. And this is the start we need to see as Man United fans. In the next week or so, we need to see Delap over the line, because he's one that's got, again, release clause that can be easily be done and easily be sorted out. We've got the money for it. And after that, it's outgoings. And can we show the footballing world that, hey, listen, we may have been we may have hit rock bottom, but because of that, the only place to go is up. And the only way we can do that is start by gritting our teeth, blocking out the noise, and making our way upwards. Start climbing, start fighting, and that's all I want from this club. Fight for us to get back to the top.
I agree. Ali here, Mr. Super Chat, Ali Osman, man like Ites says, Isak finishing with more goals than Haaland this season, yes, but in 11 more games, Erling Haaland has 29 more goals and almost double the assists in just 13 more games. Plus, he's won trebles and Premier Leagues and been integral in winning them. So Isak's got a long way to go until you're proven as right that he is that better player. But where you were correct is to praise Isak and say that he's a very, very talented player. You got that spot on. You've been given that accolade already. Well done on getting that right. I hope you come on, though, and shout about all the ones you got wrong as well, because you got a lot wrong in that period too, but you seem to ignore them, Ali. But I hope you're well, mate.